Yeah, I feel
That's
like
kind
an
of a,
elderly. Like I feel like my
I
grandma
do.
when like the internet came out and they were like, "All right, let me get my notepad. How
Right.
do I turn on the computer?"
How do how do Discord?
Yeah, I don't know. I need somebody to teach me. Because what the heck is that?
Welcome to the Incoherent Fangirl.
Where we both cried today, but that means it's a great day to talk about feminine rage.
Oh, it couldn't be more perfect, honestly.
Ah,
I'm Karen from Six Rivers, California.
I'm Mandy from Main Street, USA.
I know exactly where you're going with that. All right. All right, friends. In our timeline, it is January 30th. January has been 11 billion years.
I feel like I've been in January for my entire
It's
life.
forever. But in y'all's timeline, it's actually February 7th. We made it to February. Yay.
Woo, we did it, guys.
My God. Okay,
We did it, team. What's it
we
like
did
in the
it.
future? Is it better?
Probably not.
No.
Probably worse. Uh, this week in fangirling, tell me what you did, Mandy.
Oh, first I have a bit of a rant.
I'm
I have a rant
ready.
because, and you know what this rant is. All of my threads is now Dane Atos fangirlies now that they've read a new book. And I'm sorry, like I'm not saying I was a Dane girly from the start, but I was a Dane girly before Onyx Storm came out.
Hmm.
You guys needed him to have a smidge of a daddy moment before you noticed that he's not about literally, you thirsty bitches. You needed him to say eyes on me, and that was what did it for you. Not caring about his best friend and like Rebecca Yarrow said, he trusted his dad, which is what I said. Like he's brainwashed, and that takes a minute. Weak, weak.
I do
Anyways,
on this is not completely related, but I did just see something on the internet today. It was from like Rebecca Yarros's Dirt on Tour, where somebody asked like fan cast, and she specifically said, "I don't care as long as Zayden is not
Zayden's
white."
not white.
And I'm
Yeah,
like, thank you for
yeah.
making
She said
that
that's
so clear.
my
Yes.
only non-negotiable is
And that
Zayden is
is,
not white.
I really appreciate that she took the time to say something like
Yeah,
that because you know everybody's fan casting him as some white man and he's
yeah.
not white.
No,
So, yeah. Anyways, that's my mini rant.
yeah. We love it. And now I also said today, like, we're not getting an Empyrean book for years. What is there to live for? Like, what is there to live for?
The
I
living and
don't
the
know.
dead.
I know we can, and that's actually my next bullet point. I have been working on slugging away on Living in the Dead 2. There's a lot of angst. There's a lot of angst in this one. And right now it's just I wouldn't be me if there wasn't a love triangle that comes up. And so there's a lot of
Hmm.
but she's mine.
Hmm. Hmm.
So there's a lot of that. Some of my babies are pretty emo, my little angels.
I'm so shocked. It's
I
not
know.
like you at all.
Every like we were driving home from Disney, which I'll talk about in a second, but like every time a new like song would come on, I would be like, "Hey, this is Redacted's song. Like this is how Redacted feels at a point in my book." And the twins are like, They don't like that new character." And I'm like, "This is how Raiden feels." And they're like, "Tell me more. Tell me more." So,
Oh,
yeah.
babies.
Yeah, my girls. I'm like, give Redacted a chance. I love Redacted.
I
I'm
know you
like
do. I know you do.
I'm down bad for Redacted. I did make it to Disney, thank God.
Hmm.
We had to leave. We left about an hour later than we'd originally wanted to because the thing with Georgia snow is not so much that we can't handle a few inches of snow. That's whatever. The problem is that our ground is not cold enough for that snow to stay. So like, yeah, on our grass, it's whatever. But when it hits the road, it immediately melts, but it's not warm enough for it to melt and go away. So it just refreezes as ice. And our cars and our roads are not equipped for ice. So we had to get the temperature up just enough to where the ice would melt for the day because it was overnight when the ice was melting
Right.
and making roads dangerous. We had to wait for the ice to melt just enough. And I had to drive so carefully. I didn't realize, but like my car model has a snow mode.
Oh,
Yeah. I looked
okay.
down and I was like, there's a snowflake right there. So I've turned it on and it just made like if you turned the wheel, it did it a little slower. Like the car
Mm,
reacted a little slower, I guess, so that like if you'd made a jerking motion, you wouldn't like slide,
right.
which was cool. There was snow on our dolphin at the Florida Welcome Center. So there's a dolphin statue outside of the Florida Welcome Center, and we always stop there because we can use the bathroom. But they have like they do orange juice and grapefruit samples that they just give you. And so we're like, that's part of the tradition is to stop and get orange juice and take a picture with the dolphin. There's snow all around the dolphin. I'm like in Florida.
Oh
Heinous.
my God.
Heinous. But we got our picture. Unfortunately, the inside was closed, so we did not get our orange juice.
Boo.
Again, heinous because of snow. We finally get to Disney Springs. We went to Jock Lindsay's Hangar Bar, which is small plates, Indiana Jones related plates. We met my sister and her family at the T-Rex Cafe, and then we kind of shopped and got hot Chockies for everybody because it should never be that cold in Florida. It was ridiculous. And that day and the Magic, well, not so much Magic Kingdom Day, that day it was like misty. So not only is it freezing, but there's water. Terrible.
No,
So
thank
the
you.
Magic Kingdom Day, it was cold, but I had the best pullover I got on the TikTok shop. And I wore two pairs of leggings, really thick socks, and then I had on like a tank top, then a t-shirt, then a sweatshirt, then my little pullover. I wasn't that cold, even though it was like 40 degrees, which is shocking because I'm always cold. It was crowded, annoyingly crowded, so I didn't get to ride a ton, but I did get to ride the Haunted Mansion, just me and my baby nephew for his first time. And it was like, I almost cried. It was so special.
Aw.
Like he's obsessed with my mom. If my mom is there, he doesn't want anybody else near him, right?
Mhm.
So I had him and she had gone, I think, to go to the bathroom or something. And they came and got in line with us, but she was kind of hiding behind my 16-year-old nephew. So like the baby couldn't see her. And he was just so chill in my arms and like he let me love on him the whole line. And I
Aw.
thought like my sister was gonna jump in our doom buggy with us.
Mhm.
And so like I just sit down and I turn and she's getting in the doom buggy with my brother-in-law and my niece. And so I was like, this is
Aw.
just me and the baby in the haunted mansion. Like, what? And he, like, when my niece wrote it for the first time, she was a little bit older, but she like screamed and cried. She was like terrified.
Aw.
He just like looked around and he was just like mystified. It was like, it was like he knew that like this means so much to my Mimi. I'm gonna like
Aw.
make this so special. And
That's
it was, I just
adorable.
loved on him the whole time. And like I pointed out, like, look, they're dancing and it's a birthday party. And now we're gonna go to the graveyard. There's Leota. And like
Aw.
I know that they say like don't take kids to Disney before they're so old because they won't remember. I will remember this until the day I die. I will remember riding the Haunted Mansion, just me and you when you're 30. You know, like I will remember it and I will like treasure. It's so dramatic. I will treasure it. It was so special.
Yeah.
So we do Magic Kingdom, we do what we can. The Epcot day, perfect. Like it was still cold. We still had on leggings and sweatshirts, and I still had my little pullover. I got to take it off some. 'Cause I didn't
Mhm.
need it. We got to do pretty much everything we wanted. We snacked around the world. I got a virtual queue, so I didn't have to pay to ride Guardians of the Galaxy, which is the first time. Every other time we've had
Nice.
to pay like $80.
Oof.
Yeah, it's crazy. We got Iran as our song by a flock of seagulls. We got stuck on Spaceship Earth and they turned the lights on. We were next to the Phoenicians. We're thanking them, which is like a inside joke at Epcot. Basically, she says when you're passing the Phoenicians, because it's like a ride through human history, right? And she says, do you remember how easy it was to learn your ABCs? Thank the Phoenicians, they invented them. I've got a sweatshirt I'm wearing on this ride that says, if you can read this, thank the Phoenicians. And I get stuck next to them. They turn the lights on and we're like, oh my God, what if we get evacuated off? It would be crazy. And then we got stuck again. And there's this room with, she looks like, it's like one of the mannequins. She's like the sassiest black lady. She's got the coolest afro, the biggest afro, and like knee boots. And like, she looks like a 60s dream,
Ugh,
like her outfit. We got stuck with her. It was like, these are the two best places to get stuck.
that's amazing.
I wanted to get evacuated off. We did not. We ended the day with Remy. Like everything hurt and I was dying. because like just pain. My lower back was like filing papers to leave, but it was wonderful. Perfect, perfect, perfect. We did the next morning, we went to the Ale and Compass restaurant at the yacht club before we came home. It was super dark. The food was great, but it was super dark. And so it triggered a migraine, which I don't ever want to have on Disney property. But at least it wasn't a park day. I was able to take meds. My mom drove a lot of the way home.
That's something, I guess.
I'm not going to complain.
Yeah.
Like it could have been the Epcot day.
Yeah.
I would rather it not be any day, but if it had to be one of those days, I'm
Yeah.
glad it was the day we were driving home. Okay, so after I got back from Disney, actually on the way, once like some of the migraine pain cleared, I started These Vengeful Wishes by Vanessa Montalban. I wrote the wrong book in my I wrote A Tall Dark Trouble in my notes. That's why I'm so confused. I was like, what? That's not right.
That is her book, though.
It is, but it's not the right one. We will talk more about this later, but These Vengeful Wishes. And then I started listening to, because like when I came home, I had been in a migraine. I was just kind of like feeling crappy because it drains you. I just came and brought all my shit and put it on my kitchen table, everything. And so the
Yeah.
next day I was like, I got to put all this up. So I started listening to When the Moon Hatched by Sarah A. Parker. So we have Rave, who's an assassin for the rebellion. She's fast and she's quiet and she can get in and out without anybody knowing it was her. And so she is valuable to the rebellion, to the revolution or whatever. She loves to go after rapists, child abusers, people who hurt animals. Like she's one of us. Except she's like a trained assassin. So
Right.
she's better than us.
Yeah. Yeah.
She goes after all around assholes. There's one scene where it's very beginning. It's not like anything, but she's carving like R for rapist and C for child abuser, and then she just she carves ass into his skin. Love her.
Oh my God.
So unfortunately, tragedy strikes when a super well-known and like kind of, I don't want to say like he's feared, maybe not by her, but like he's like notorious bounty hunter is hired to take a member of the rebellion that she's a part of, and it's her friend. And it's a tragic situation that unfolds. So in the aftermath of this, Rave is captured and she's imprisoned by the Guild of Nobles who intend to execute her as like a political statement. The rebellion is nothing, you know, and here's proof. We have your really good assassin.
Right.
But that's until Con Vagor shows up. He's tall and dark and muscly, and he's also the warrior who beheaded the king and took his crown. So like
Oh,
now he's the
well,
king.
okay then.
Yeah. Spoiler, but not. He's actually the not the tyrant king that everybody thinks he is. Gasp. What do you
Oh
mean that
my
the broody
God.
male main character is actually a good guy and
So
not the bad guy?
shocking. I am so
I cannot
surprised.
believe it. So he's actually trying to fight all of the oppression within the land. And he sees her like strategic mind and like her abilities as the asset that she is. And so he's like, actually, you're not going to get executed. You're coming with me. But he's still like keeps her in cuffs and stuff. And she's so pissed about it where I am right now. And he calls her Moonbeam. And at one point, he's like, there's like a, I don't want to give away too much, but they have to go into a place. And she's like, I don't feel comfortable like going here empty handed. Like, I feel like I need to offer something. And he was like, all right, your name. And so she says her name. And he's like, he says it and like the way it describes it, like with such a reverence, like it's a treasure to know her name. But he keeps calling her Moonbeam. So every time he like I'm cleaning and I was listening to it like when I was cooking dinner last night and stuff, and it was like every time he calls her Moonbeam, like my legs come out from under me a little bit. It's like, oh God, he calls her Moonbeam.
Oh my
Shut
goodness.
up. So anyways, that was my long-winded week.
It's a good
What
week.
did you do this week? It was a good week.
You know, this really truly is the week for feminine rage, I gotta say. I read Onyx Storm by Rebecca Yarros.
Woo, baby.
I mean, I can't
That
say anything.
ending.
I can't say anything. It's book 3 in a series. I got nothing for
Yeah.
you. I got nothing for
We
you.
can say that ending, and we can say your co-host will die if anything happens to Riddick ever. Which
Yeah,
I think is coming. She said, someone you love won't make it. And people are
bitch.
like,
I
it's
can't.
Dane. And it's like, no, he's not widely loved like Riddick is.
No,
It's
he's
Riddick.
not. He's not.
It's Riddick.
It's gonna be hard. So, Onyx Storm. I reread Iron Widow by Jiran J. Zhao. I read it a year ago and I don't remember any. I mean, I remember some things, but I needed to reread it in order to read the sequel that just came out. So, Iron Widow is Pacific Rim meets The Handmaid's Tale in a blend of Chinese history and science fiction. In this world, there are these kind of like giant robot things that are piloted by a pair, one man and one woman, in order to fight off an invading alien-like creatures. Generally speaking, because misogyny, the male pilots are in control and the female pilots are just kind of there to lend the male pilots
Oh
extra
my
chi
God.
in battle. Most of the time, the women in these situations do not survive because the male pilots will drain them of all their chi and
Ew.
that's it. Yeah, it's real gross. Zetian offers herself up as a concubine pilot to the pilot who killed her sister. Very important to note that he killed her with his hands, not by draining her of her chi during
Oh
battle.
no.
So clearly, he's not a good dude.
Right.
So she offers herself up to him as his female pilot with the intention to kill him at the first possible chance she can
Yes,
get.
ma'am. Yes, you are.
Of course. Unfortunately, an attack happens before she can make that happen, and pilots are like basically required to grab the nearest concubine, and that's who they take into battle with them. And Zetian is the one closest to the pilot at that time. So she has to go into battle with him in this giant robot. Luckily for her, her chi is actually so powerful that she kills him during battle.
Go girl.
She is completely ready to face the consequences, aka death, because he was like one of their most powerful pilots. But because she did something that should have been impossible in quotes, because again, misogyny, she's
Yeah.
actually paired up with another super powerful pilot who is actually a prisoner and being forced into these battles as punishment for killing his whole family. The pair of them are forced to work together, so obviously, forced proximity. But also, there is a prince who was secretly Zetian's friend way back before she, like,
Mhm.
went off to kill the pilot. And he somehow weasels his way into the situation, and it becomes a love triangle in the best possible way. And if you know me at all, you know exactly what I mean when I say the best
Yeah.
possible way. There is a bit of a twist at the end, and everything that the trio finds out may change the world as they know it. And it is so good. And the fact that I had to wait so long for the sequel is mean because it ends like insane. That ending, oh my god. So, of course, then I read Heavenly Tyrant, which is the sequel to Iron Widow. I can't say much about this because it is a
Yeah.
sequel, but basically, Zetian fucked around and now she's gonna find out.
Okay.
But
Are we on her? I want to
again,
be on her side though.
we're on her side. We're totally on
Good.
her
So
side.
we're finding out.
We're it's she did something at the end of book one that she was like, I'm gonna be able to control this, and turns out she can't
Um,
actually control it because again, misogyny. So
yeah.
she fucked around and now she's finding out, and it's a struggle for her.
Yeah.
And it's a lot, but it's so good. And I once again am just I need the next book right now. I'm dying. So I highly recommend this series. The funniest thing about this is that the author had to go onto social media and issue a quote unquote apology because there is a scene that they wrote that they intended to be taken one way. And apparently, some people were not reading it in that way. And so, I cannot believe I'm about to say these words, but this is the first time that I've ever had an author go on social media to apologize for the fact that the pegging scene she wrote did not come off as pegging.
Oh my God.
And it's so funny. I read it the way it was. I listened to the audiobook, so I like read it the way it was written, but I understood what was happening. But
What did people think was happening?
they thought that she was going to do other things with a different part of her body and not.
Oh.
So yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Should I be more specific? I can be more specific. I'm just like, I don't know who listens to us. So if you don't want to hear details,
If you
skip like
have
the
littles
next,
in the car.
yeah, skip maybe the next 30 seconds. But basically, they thought she was going to go down on him when in actuality, they have the ability to make things with their chi and use spirit magic to create things and still feel sensations.
Yeah.
So she was going to create a thing in order to do a thing.
Yeah.
And so people were reading it the wrong way, and everybody who read it the right way was like, she would never do it. She would never do that. Like she would
Yeah.
never. She is way too much like I hate men in order to
Yeah.
do that. Like so yeah. Anyways, I just thought that was really
Okay.
funny. But
I'm like, how do you not understand? Okay. Yeah.
yeah, 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 because it's not. It's technically YA, so it's not like explicit. So
Yeah.
like you kind of have to infer. But like the thing is, Zetienne says, "I'm still sore. It's your turn." So like, I
Uh,
mean, I read it the correct way because if
yeah.
she's sore, then there's up then and it's his turn to be sore. Like,
Yeah.
but other people did not apparently. So.
I'm gonna go see. I want to go see how this apology was worded because that's the funniest thing I've ever heard.
It's so funny. Yeah, you have to go on their
I
social
have to go
media.
find
It's
this.
on.
Yeah.
They made a post on Instagram with just like words and then also a reel, so you could see both. But it's basically the same thing.
Oh my God.
It's so funny. Okay, so I also read These Vengeful Wishes by Vanessa Montalban. We'll talk about that soon. And I read A Sea of Unspoken Things by Adrienne Young. We love Adrienne here.
Mhm.
So we've got James, who returns home to the small town that she grew up in after the death of her twin brother, Johnny. She can't help but feel that there is more to his death than meets the eye. She kind of it's a play on that like whole twin intuition thing, right? She
Mhm.
just feels that there's
That is a
something more
real
to.
thing, by the way.
Yes. And she has to kind of navigate the gossip mill of small town life in order to find out what really happened. But her investigation unearths things that she's afraid to face, and she'll have to decide if what really happened should come into the light or stay buried forever. I loved it. It was so good. Adrian really is amazing at like creating an atmosphere in her
Yeah.
books, and you can feel it in this book. Like it's a small town, Six Rivers, and everybody knows everybody and everybody's all up in everybody's business. So the fact that this his death was ruled an accident because it was like hunting season, and so he was out and they just think, oh, somebody he just accidentally got shot. But because of it's a little bit of a speculative element because she like has this vision, right? And she feels the pain exactly where he was shot, and she sees like the trees and the sky and what would have been like his last sight as he's dying. So there's a little bit of that going on. And it's such an interesting like exploration into that whole idea of the twin intuition, because those of us who aren't twins don't know, but like
Yeah.
twins will know. Like they have this.
I have a, like the
You have,
twins
yeah,
that have they've
exactly.
dealt with that. One of them, when they were like 3,
Mm-hmm.
tripped on like the crease in concrete, the little break
Yeah.
in concrete, and she hurt her arm, and they
Mm-hmm.
took her to the doctor because they were like, "Did she break her arm?" And the doctor was like, "No, she's fine." The other one for days cried, "Her arm hurts," and she would
Oh
hold her arm
gosh.
up. The one who was not injured,
Right.
it hurts, and it was enough that they took her back, and she had a tiny hairline fracture,
Oh my
and she had to wear a
gosh.
cast.
Oh gosh.
So like
Yeah,
the
it's a
one who was injured wasn't the one crying. It was the other one. It's
right.
weird. They're
It
weird.
it is a
They're
thing.
so weird.
And I mean, I didn't know Adrian was a twin. So
Yeah.
that's really cool that she like put kind of her experience in. And there was a kind of launch event with her and her brother for people who pre-ordered the book. And one of the things that was it was like so like gave me goosebumps. The her brother was asking like, "Hey, where did you come up with the number 914?" It's the passcode for her brother's phone, and it's I think it's like their birthday, their twins' birthday. And Adrian was like, I don't know, I just that was just a number. And he's like, that number has been haunting me for like he like keeps seeing it over and over, like 90914 over and over. And she's like, ah. And I'm like,
Yeah.
chills. Like it's insane. So it's really good. I really
They
enjoyed
are
it.
so weird. We've done like
It's
the
wild.
twin challenge where like we'll put them a door between them and we'll
Right.
say like lift a hand and they lift the same hand, or like they will just start like they're gonna like we're gonna talk in unison when they were little, and they would say like I would say a random word and they would both say the same word.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
uh,
It's
creepy.
God, I'm like chills just thinking about it. But yeah,
Yeah.
it was really good. It's Adrian Young, so yeah. And the other thing that I did this week, which is not a book that I read, but I launched my Substack.
You
I
did.
launched a newsletter, so if you guys are interested, I'm trying to be like have people hold me more accountable for my writing. So that's kind of what that's going to be. Also, just general chaos because I
Yeah.
wouldn't be me if I wasn't. So if you want to, you can subscribe to that. And that was my week.
Yay! That was a good week. That was a very good
It
week.
was a good week.
Do you have a fictional boyfriend from that week?
I wrote down two. Riddick, obviously. I don't really need to
My
say
heart and
more.
soul. My heart
Riddick.
and soul.
Riddick from the Empyrean series,
Hmm.
and also Jamie from These Vengeful Wishes. I've read Vanessa's other book, and she just writes the sweetest little cinnamon roll boys, and I
Uh,
love them. Like I think when I read A Tall Dark Trouble, Ethan from that book was my book boyfriend for that week because he's just such a cinnamon roll, and I adore. And it's the same thing with Jamie. I loved
yeah.
them. Yeah, so that's for me. What about you?
Well, I have Jamie as my fictional son since we learned we could do that. Because he said, I said, because he's just a sweet little baby angel, and I just want to protect him at all costs.
He is so sweet.
Yeah, my little heart. And then I also put Con Vagor because he's a tall, dark, and broody cinnamon roll. And he's also so head over heels for his moonbeam, and it's crazy that you don't see it. It's crazy. Like, how
It's
do you not know that he's done? He's
It's
toast,
so
man.
wild because it's like I have to wonder like have I ever been that girl? Because it seems so obvious to me when I'm reading about it and then I'm like,
Yeah,
"Wait, I need to go back through my entire like life. Like have I
life
ever been
history.
that dumb?"
Probably.
Probably because it's
Probably,
easier
yeah.
to ignore things when it's you, right?
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
those are good. I like
Yeah.
that.
Those are my fictional boyfriends.
That sound means we have an intruder alert.
It's an
I'm so
intruder.
excited. I feel like I've been waiting years and years and years for this moment. We have Vanessa Montalban, author of These Vengeful Wishes, here today. Welcome to the podcast, Vanessa.
Yay, thank you so much. I'm so excited.
I'm so excited.
We
I
are
feel like we
too.
have been talking about this for since your first book came out, and now it's like, yay, we can finally have you here.
I know.
So the first thing that we always ask is, can you give us like the elevator pitch of the book for anybody who hasn't heard of it?
Yeah, so this is where things get interesting because this is like my first event with this book specifically. So I don't
Yay!
have my elevator pitch down.
That's like honestly
We
so
love being a
perfect.
guinea
Like
pig.
that's the
Yeah.
vibe here.
My total guinea pigs because I'm like, how do I even like begin to describe this book? But basically, it's a folk tour. There you go, folk tour of a Nicaraguan legend called La Segua. So La Segua is this beautiful demon who lures men into the woods, cheating or, heavily drunk men. And then she'll show her skeletal horse face and petrify them to death. And
I
I
love
was,
her.
yes, I love her. I'm like,
Love
she
her so
reminds me of
much.
Jennifer's body. So I'm like, yes, I'm
I'm
just killing
obsessed.
boys, like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you go,
There's nothing
girl.
wrong with that.
Exactly.
Exactly. And like these are the bedtime stories I heard growing up. It's like, is this what was putting me to sleep? No wonder I am as,
I love that.
but as I was like researching her and uncovering her character, I'm like, there's so many different origin stories to her. And I really wanted something different. Like I wanted to give her more depth. I wanted to give her a different backstory. So I kind of like retrofitted her into this small Florida town. And a teenager moves to this small town, sees herself in this vengeful creature. She discovers this magic well that is powered by La Segua and grants wishes that come at a cost. And from there, she's uncovering family secrets and she's bonding somehow with La Segua and also bonding with a townie, a very cute townie that lives there, Jamie.
Little angel.
For life. Oh my gosh, I love it.
Okay, so you may have opened a new genre for me because I'm not normally a horror girly. Like I stick with rom-coms and fantasy like almost exclusively. I could not put this down.
That
And
makes me
so like I'm like I can do horror. Um so I know I looked into La Segua, of course, to know like what I was getting into because I'd heard of La Lorena which is not the same. And at first I was like, oh, it's going to be like that. No, she's got her own story, her own,
Oh yeah, yeah.
lore, all of
Llorona.
that. Yeah.
I was like, it's like La Lorena.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Oh no,
Um,
I just couldn't think of who you meant, but like La Llorona is very similar to La Cegua, yes.
yeah. And so I was like, oh, that's what it's going to be based on. It's not. It's La Segua. And she's the one that, like you said, typically targets like unfaithful men or like sloppy men. What was it like, though, giving her fresh take in her new story? Like, how was it writing that?
I mean, that's kind of what her story is based off. There's different, like the different origin stories to her. One said that she was cursed because she was an ungrateful daughter. And a lot of the stories do mention that she was scorned by a man. And that's the kind like the little thread that I ran with. And it would make sense, right? Why she specifically targets cheating men. And
Yeah.
but I love the whole aspect of, well, I didn't love it. Like her backstory was kind of erased from history. And
Right.
she's humanized and seen as this one thing.
Yeah.
So there's usually a reason why a woman feels scorned and vengeful. There's always a man behind it or someone behind it causing these, these feelings and these outbursts. So I really wanted to not give her a reason for murdering men.
Right.
Kind of like
Yeah.
this is she is the way she is, and just making her a more rounded character. And I
Yeah.
felt like, as
Oh,
I
yeah. I loved her.
absolutely.
By the
She
end
was,
of it,
yeah.
you're like,
I get it.
I think
I
most
get it.
women could resonate at least with like, no, we're not going to go out and like murder men in the street, but most women have
But I
been
mean,
with or
the
dealt with a
inclination
shitty
is
man
there.
where
yeah,
you look like the bad
murder
guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The urge is there.
A
For
lot. I
sure.
think a lot of women will identify, at least in part, with her, where it's like, oh yeah, I see
Yeah.
her.
Yeah. And then just like anger doesn't always like need to have a reason, but in
Right.
this case, she did have her reasons. And that's what
Yeah.
you kind of go, that's what Ceci goes uncovering, because Ceci demonstrates her anger in like a kind of apathetic mode.
Mhm.
She's kind of like
Mhm.
depressed. She holds stuff in and she comes off as very surly and like angsty teenage. And when she sees La Segua, how she like displays her anger, and when she finds the reason for her anger, Ceci learns how to channel that as well and like navigate those
Yeah.
emotions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really appreciated the way that you were able to like tell us how to say Ceci's name.
See, like cesspool.
Because I was like, it was so
I
good.
died.
It was so funny. I was just like, wait, I love this so much. But with it's like so subtle, like, right? Because you don't think about like, well, people are gonna need to know how to say their names, but like
Yeah.
it's just such a subtle little thing that it was just so funny.
I'm so glad it came across as subtle, because I was trying to think, I was like, what can I add? Because I know people are going to be calling her Cece, like Cece's Pizza.
Yeah.
So I was like, what can I add? And then that little scene just came out of that. So I'm glad it came off naturally.
Yeah,
She
it was
gave
just
me
so
like
perfect.
she gave me like Jenna Ortega when she's Wednesday vibes of just like she's just staring and she's like Ceci like cesspool. Loved her.
I definitely channeled Ortega for her character. I was
Yeah.
like, her.
Good. Because that's
Yeah.
like perfect. When this
Yes.
is a movie,
Yeah.
I need her to play her because like I don't feel like anybody else could get the like the level of just like
Apathetic, like
apathy,
just,
like you
yeah.
said, just like get the fuck away from me right now.
The show Ginny and Georgia. Have you guys seen that one?
No,
on
but
Netflix?
No, I've seen like bits and
trailers,
pieces,
yeah.
but never like a whole episode.
Yeah.
It's so good, but like as I had already written these vengeful wishes when I started watching it, and there's so many parallels, like the mother and daughter duo, like how the mom is like she had her really young, so they have that kind of dynamic. I was like, oh, this
Yeah.
is perfect. And Ceci acts a lot like the character, like Ginny in that.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Okay,
Okay,
It
so
gave me like Riverdale vibes too, of like dark and spooky and like yeah. I was just like, ooh, I feel like I'm like this could happen in
Rachel.
Riverdale.
I really want to know, like, during the writing process, did you have it all kind of plotted? Because there's a lot of things that like kind of tie together, and there were a lot of threads that you pulled on and to tie it all up. Did you have it all plotted out, or did you kind of discover it as you were writing?
Yeah, so this was actually the first book I've ever plotted to its entirety from beginning to end. Like I knew how I wanted it to end. Of course, like things go changing, but for the most part, all the big plot points were there.
Hmm.
And the story arcs were there. And it was great in a way, but it also and it went a lot quicker. Like I drafted it so much quicker than I have previous ones. And revising was a lot easier. No, there is no downside. It was I was like, wait, why did I say but? Because there is no but here.
I love
You
that.
might convince me to plot
I
because I
know.
don't like, I'm not organized enough, I don't think. So like I'm like, oh, I would have to be a pantser.
Well,
Maybe I
yeah.
could try
I
plotting.
thought that, like, honestly, I'd always considered myself a pantser, like just going by this, seat of my pants or however it said. With A Tall Dark Trouble, I did just that. I just started writing, and I didn't know who the killer was going to be until the very end, and it made revision a nightmare, a nightmare. So, like, I learned my lesson. I was like, let me try the outline, and it's gone a lot smoother, unfortunately. Like, it has
You convinced me.
We'll try. We'll
okay,
try.
So so many people think that Florida is like beaches in Disney World. So
Mhm.
I love that you showed that Florida is so creepy. It's not the same, but like every time I pass through the villages, I get like the creepiest feeling, even going under the villages sign. So for the roads outside of town, like where most people were seeing La Segua or going missing. I
Yeah.
pictured, I don't know if you've ever been to Tomoka Park in Ormond Beach, but it's like this little park that people say, and over half of my family has said that they see ghost lights of this car that supposedly like went off the road. Anyways, it's very spooky, very like Spanish moss and trees everywhere, and then nothing. Is there like a specific town or area that you like drew inspiration from for the town in the book, or did you just kind of like pull it out of your head?
So my mom lives in Ormond Beach, and
Really?
and it's that exact area that I was picturing the entire time.
Stop! So I wasn't off at all.
No,
Oh my God.
right now I was like, wow.
Ah,
That's
And
so
when I started
yeah.
crazy.
driving through the back alleys and she's reading the signs, like that's an actual sign that's there in that area. It's like it's where the beach meets like the swamp, right? So it has
Yeah.
half water, half sweet water.
Yeah.
And that's why like crocodiles and alligators can coexist like in the Everglades. But yeah, it's based off that
That
area.
is
That's
crazy.
so
I was like, this
insane.
feels like Tomoka Park because I had an aunt that lived, she's passed away now, but she lived in Ormond. And so every summer we'd go to Daytona and we'd visit her and we'd always take a night like to drive out to Tomoka to see the Tomoka lights. And like half of my family that don't believe in ghosts have say they've seen the lights. I never have. And my sister never has, but like my parents have, my grandparents, aunts and uncles. It's so
Wow.
rude because I would love to see them. But that is crazy out of the entire state. I was like,
Yeah,
this is Ormond Beach vibes.
That's so crazy.
that is so crazy because that's exactly what I was picturing. Because when you drive there at night, it is so creepy. It is so
Hmm.
creepy. And then there's like no guardrails between the road and the water.
Right.
So
Yeah,
something
you could just go off.
to the road.
Whoa.
Yeah. So
And it's got that
definitely,
like you always feel like somebody's like just over your shoulder. And like
yeah.
during the day, I don't feel that way. But it's at night, it's like, oh,
At night,
oh.
it just feels like the trees are like kind of enclosing
Yeah.
little by
Ooh.
little. And then like
Yeah.
there's swamp everywhere, so you never know what's gonna crawl out of
No.
anywhere. So yeah.
Oh, I don't like it.
Y'all are
That was
not selling Florida to me.
Exactly.
I'm like, I'm gonna
It's
stay
not
here.
just Disney and beaches.
I'm gonna stay
during the
here.
day, beautiful. Like during the day,
During the day, it's great.
awesome.
Be in your hotel room by the night.
But there's a lot of scenes where Ceci has to like traverse the swampy area at night, and I'm like freaking myself out. I'm like, I would be dying. There's no
No,
way
I
I
would
would
Yeah.
get to this like trail by myself. But
I would see one single frog and I would be like, nope, I can't help you. Let's say go out. You're gonna have to figure it out you're gonna have to break your own curse. I don't know. I gotta get back inside. There was a frog.
like, I rather just not wish for anything. Like, I wish to never see this trail again. Like, I wish to
Yeah,
not.
I wish that all of this would just not be here. Please. Oh my gosh.
It's so crazy that you thought it. Like, that's still blowing my mind.
Exactly
Like,
where.
yeah,
That's
that's the area.
wild.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
love
they
Like
live
I
that.
by
thought it was going to be like, no, there's this tiny little town, like, or something that's outside of Miami that no one's ever heard of. But for
no.
it to be Ormond is wild.
But for some reason, like in my head, I was picturing it like I was picturing that area, but I was picturing it on the West Coast, like closer
Yeah.
to the West Coast, like in my head for some reason. I don't know why. I
Yeah.
just
It works.
like,
Honestly, if I were to put it on a map, yeah, I was thinking like southwestish if I were to think
yeah.
of,
There's like
if I
I'm
had
thinking
thought about
like
that.
places that don't have a lot of like that have a lot of empty space. At
Yeah.
least they have empty spaces. I haven't been there, so like who knows if a whole town could be thriving there. I just have no idea.
I do have to laugh though. I didn't really think about it, but I was driving home from Florida when I started this book because I went to Disney
Well,
last
that's a good
weekend. And so
point.
I was actually in Florida when I
That's
picked it up.
awesome.
Yeah.
I
That's so
love that.
cool. So you're like in the setting, embodying it.
Yeah.
That's
And I'm
crazy.
like looking around, like, I'm so glad it's daytime. And I'm on 75.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like in Florida, you just never know. You get off on one exit and it's full of Waffle Houses and a ton of stuff. But then you get off on another exit and it's just like road and trees,
Nothing. Hmm.
nothing. Go at
And then
night.
random horse ranches.
Yes,
For some reason, it's like, what's going on?
right. I'm like, why haven't I ridden more horses in my life if there's so many over here? Like,
Yeah. What is going on?
I've
Oh
been
my
to
God.
ponies, but never like.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so funny.
And now my character is a horse face. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, that's a good point. More
Fair.
horses, more horses. So there's a certain I don't want to say too much because it kind of gives something away, but there's a certain part where we find out something about her mom, and it kind of changes the entire story in a way because you think one thing and you're like, well, that can't possibly be it because of backstory. And then all of a sudden it's like, wait a second, wait a second. So how did you, man, what were you, the thought process behind that kind of keeping that very close to, I guess, took close to the chest before, because
The big
Ceci really
reveal.
is like, yeah, she's really like, this can't be it. But then she's like, wait a minute, can it? It could be, but I don't know. It's a mystery. Like,
Yeah.
where did you come up with this kind of idea for mom's backstory? Being very, very careful.
No, I get it. I like every time I try to explain this book to someone, I'm like, how do I say it without like giving it away? But
Right.
at the same time, like when I wrote it, I wasn't thinking of having a plot twist. Like,
Hmm.
I don't know, since it wasn't a mystery, like that wasn't my focus. It was
Hmm.
more about like Ceci uncovering, seeing her mom in a different light. Because I really love playing with that mother-daughter relationship. Because like as a mom, I look back at a lot of memories of my mom, and I'm like, man, what she was doing was just really protecting me, but in her own
Mhm.
way.
Hmm.
So like you learn that your parents are still growing and like they're
Yeah.
their own human and they're
It's
making
their
mistakes.
first life too.
Yeah.
Exactly. They're experiencing everything for the first time. And just because they've had you, especially if someone's had you young, like
Hmm.
they're learning things through like
They're
through the
growing
fire.
up together too.
Right.
Exactly. They're
Yeah.
growing up together. So she has this one very, which her mom has like continuously proven, like her mom has made a ton of mistakes. But I also like for Ceci to I like the slow reveal of her seeing her mom in a different light. It
Hmm.
wasn't meant to be like a plot twist or anything, but more of like a Ceci's journey coming to
Yeah.
like
Mhm.
to more like a climatic scene of her realizing, hey, my mom's human. She's had a whole life before me. She's made a ton of mistakes and she's gone through similar things that I have, which is what
Yeah.
later
Yeah.
on.
Understanding her and
Yeah.
seeing her mother in that different way. Yeah, that
Yeah.
was really special. I had a young mom too, so like I understand, like I understood. It was like it didn't really put it in, like it put it into perspective when she said something about her mom being in her mid 30s because she had Ceci at 18, and it's like that's my mom was 19, and it was like she was my age and she had a 17-year-old. I cannot
Yeah.
imagine. Like
Yeah.
what? It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't
You
really think your parents are adults. Your parents are like
Right.
they know everything when it's like, no, it's their first time here. Like they
exactly. And that's like something you learn as you grow older, right? Because like I'm how old am I? I'm 36 now. I'm 36 now, and I'm like, I still feel like a kid. Like when I'm paying bills,
Yes.
what am I doing? Like, why do
Yeah.
I get to do this? Like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Right.
Yeah. I
I'm
need
getting
an
an
adultier
adultier
adult.
adult.
Yeah.
Like, this is changing, but in this, not that
I'm
much.
still 17 in here. Like, I don't know
Right.
what's happening.
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly.
The
So
fact that all of my joints crack when it's cold is very weird
Oh,
because I'm 17. That's not
yeah.
that doesn't happen.
exactly, that's just me work, but that's yuck.
Okay, so I want to like give a preface to this question.
Okay.
All mediums are art, so like writing is art, music is art, but for this question I'm talking about like painting. Ceci is an insanely talented artist and you do such a good job of like describing her process and her work. Are you like an artist or did you have to like consult with someone who is a painter or who can actually like draw and make things come to life? Because I can't do a stick figure.
No me.
So like
So like my husband's an artist. He does more like
okay.
abstract, but he's also an architect. So I listen to him all the time on his, like I was with him all through school while he was learning art history, and that stuff just like really interests me. I love art. I love going to museums.
Mhm.
I'm very envious of those who can draw and
Yeah.
Right.
just do a stick figure.
Same.
I could maybe draw like a shading of an eye, but that's
I can't even
I
do
told
that.
my daughter is more artistically inclined than me, and I once told her like I can't even draw a stick figure, and she's like, "Mommy, you just draw lines," and I'm like, "No, you don't understand.
Yeah. It's not easy.
That's not no.
Like how do you know shading?
Yeah,
I don't get it.
I don't no.
I had all these like fabulous art books like oh wait, wrong one. I forget that it's reversed.
Yeah.
On this shelf right here is a bunch of art books that I consulted and stuff, and just like stuff that I've
That's
picked up from him.
cool.
Yeah.
Oh, I
And my
love that.
sister's an artist. She actually does tattoos, so she's in my
Oh wow.
She
I
did
love that. I'm envious of people
did
who
she
can do
design
it.
did she design the pre-order tattoo?
Yes,
Oh,
yes, that's
I love
her.
it.
Yeah, the temporary tattoos.
I'm like
I
so
want to
tempted. I'm like maybe it can be permanent. Let's make this because it's so beautiful.
let's all get matching Segwa tattoos.
Oh my God, yes.
Yes.
I need a reminder of like feminine rage all the
Yeah.
time because
Yeah.
it's just always there, especially now. My God.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll get like a spookier one of her though.
Yeah.
I just want something terrifying.
Yeah. You
Perfect.
just flash it at people who come near you.
Exactly.
Watch out.
I have a
Don't.
Somebody's watching out for me, okay? You
Yeah.
cute.
Somebody's like, excuse me. No.
no.
I just wanted to get past you. I'm just like
Is this what you want? You want her wrath?
Oh my goodness. Okay, so we don't want to keep you too long, but we do have a couple questions that we always ask. This is the moment that you will forget everything that you've ever consumed, like in your entire life. But we have a segment that we call Fictional Boyfriend of the Week. And it doesn't have to be a boyfriend, but we like pick a fictional character. This week we both picked Jamie. I picked him as
he
my
was my
fictional
fiction.
boy.
Yeah.
She
I was
picked him
thinking
as
Jamie from Outlander. I was like, oh, that's a good one.
It could be, yeah.
It could
No,
be, but no,
your
you're
Jamie was like my fictional son of
And I
the
was like,
week. So I just want to
oh,
protect
yeah,
him and
we
like
love it.
hold him.
But yeah, so basically we pick a fictional character that we're like, we love this person. So we want to know, are there any fictional characters that you're like, this person, I love this person. I
It
want
doesn't have to
everybody.
be books. It can be movies, TV, anything.
Well, I already thought of one. Immediately, what came to mind was Warren. I think from Shatter Me, Tahara Mafi's book.
Hold on.
There's my Aaron Warner tattoo.
She
I am like that is my number one. My boo thing
No.
is Aaron Warner. Yes, because like people are usually like, "Well, what are yours?" Like I don't know, and I'm like Aaron Warner.
Yeah,
Shatter
Did I
Me.
say Warren? Did I say Warren?
Yeah, that's okay. I knew who you were talking about.
we knew. It's so funny because she read it before me and she is like always been Aaron, it's Aaron, and I'm reading it and I'm like, you're telling me that you think that it's Kenji. I'm sorry, Kenji Kishimoto is the love of my life.
I love Kenji.
Yes, him too.
Nobody's ever said
I was
Aaron
gonna say,
before
that's
though.
the
This
first
is so special.
I just, it's the first time I've ever been made to change my mind so fast. And I'm like,
Yeah.
am I really this like susceptible to
Yeah.
But when
author
it's Aaron Warner, I mean, yeah.
like I was just in shock. I was like, so all those times, this is what he meant. Like, just
Yeah.
away. And I fell hard. I fell hard for
Yeah.
that.
Same. I got a tattoo. I got a tattoo.
I mean, it's
I was like,
beautiful.
we gotta have matching tattoos. I think you and I might be soulmates, honestly. But
You can't have her. She's mine. I found her first.
Three of us, this is our family. This is
I love that. Oh my gosh.
oh, that is
we're
so
making to
exciting.
Smoka.
Yes.
Yes.
Bye. We're gonna go live in Tomoka with the ghost. Gonna be fine.
Oh my gosh.
And
That's
Aaron Warner is gonna be there.
Oh my god, stop, I'm crying.
Oh my God, this is the first time anybody has said him, and that is like so exciting because that is my
Usually,
boo thing.
oh yeah, like I'm just blown away by her writing. Have
Oh
you ever
yeah,
read
she's insane.
saying like the emotions, the art of emotions or something?
No,
I
I
haven't
need
read her.
to.
I have.
Oh my gosh, I loved it. It made me sob like crazy. Like it's so so good. Her writing is just
She's
perfect.
Have you done
fantastic.
This Woven Kingdom yet?
I started it. I ran out of my library hold, and then I haven't
Oh no.
restarted.
It's very funny because she starts setting up this one character as like the bad guy. He's really awful. And I'm like, that's the Aaron Warner. I'm not gonna make this mistake again. That's the Aaron of this series. And I know it, and that's who I love.
How does she do it? How does she make us hate him first, and then like take that away and make us love
Yeah.
him? Like,
Yeah.
take
It's magic.
It was the monologue.
this
was
is
the
our sign
monologue.
to reread.
The please don't shoot me for this before he kisses her. Jesus. God. God.
So good. I'm gonna reread it. That's it. I'm gonna reread it. I've been wanting to reread like one of my favorites, and there, I just have to.
She just
I
did
just
a
reread it
reread.
in like November when
Yeah.
we went on our like winter break. I was like, everything feels really bad. It was right after the election. I was like,
Yeah.
everything is really bad. I need Aaron Warner. Like, I just need to escape with Aaron Warner right now.
Honestly, mood right now. Like, I
Yeah.
just need a comfort read. I need to know how it ends. And now that I know
Yeah.
I'm supposed to love him, I'm gonna feel less guilty about it. Like when I was starting to love him, and I wasn't sure if I was supposed to. I was like, wait, why?
Yeah.
Oh,
Why
I love this.
cute if not, like why cute shaped if not cute?
Right. Exactly.
Exactly.
And like the craziest, he's blonde. I never go for a
She
blonde. I'm 5'8" and he's 5'9". Don't typically like it makes me self-conscious, which is so silly. My husband's super tall, so that's great. But it's like I don't care that he's short. I don't care that he's blonde. Give me that.
Or that he's a teenager. I'm
That's true.
pretending that he's not an
No,
actual child.
honestly,
He's my age.
anytime we read so much YA, it's like they're not actually teenagers. They're our age.
Yeah.
Like I don't care
Yeah.
what it says in the book, they're actually our age.
I
Plus,
just wanna-
we are getting him aged up.
I was gonna say we're about to have a 30-year-old
Yeah.
Warner in a month and a half.
Yeah, we're getting him
Because
aged
she's
up.
putting out Watch Me, and it's 19 years later, and
Ugh.
James is an adult,
I
And
can't.
his
Aaron
hair
is in his
brown
30s.
and miraculously.
I'm like,
Ugh.
please.
I
He's
can't.
dyed his hair brown. Like he's
Yeah.
Right.
some nice platform shoes. Like we are ready.
Yes,
We're different,
whatever.
whatever it is.
I
I
can't
love
wait.
it.
Okay, so we kind of have this answer if you're wanting to reread Shatter Me, but another question that we always ask is like, we know we love your books and we recommend your books. What are you reading and recommending? Like, what books do you think like people should read?
Oh man, I'm such a big mood reader. So like
Me too.
I never
Yeah,
know
it's
what
hard.
it is that I'm gonna be like so into. I've been reading a lot of historical romance. Like I like
Yeah.
the fun, raunchy
Yeah.
history in the mix. Like I love that. Julia Long, I think is the one I was reading recently that I loved. I'm also blurbing for Skyla Arndt. She wrote
Oh.
Together We Rot.
I've
And
seen that one.
yeah, the one that's gonna come out soon is so good. Like her language is just so like poetic. you know. I'm trying to think. Are we into Tiffany Jackson? Like any Tiffany Jackson book?
Oh,
She writes
yes.
Yes.
a lot of scary, like that's right up my alley. So yeah,
Okay.
those are.
I know I'm
Oh,
gonna have to read, like, I have some. Wait, what?
Isabel Cañas. Anything that she writes,
Oh,
also.
yes.
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 Yeah.
I have some Tiffany Jackson books on my shelf that I went to an event that she was at, and so I bought her books and got them signed. But I was like, I'm not a horror girly, so I don't know that I'll read them. I'm a horror girly, apparently. So I'm gonna have to take those down
It
now.
was tame though, right? Like it was a little tamer horror because I started
Yeah.
it as
Yeah.
a fantasy, but then it got
Yeah.
dark, and I was like, oh wait.
You're like, wait a minute.
No, it's like that. It's like right on the edge where it's like it's not too scary for people who aren't like
Right.
hardcore
It was a tip
horror.
my toes in.
Yeah, it's like horror
Yeah.
light, like a
Yeah.
starter
Good
pack.
starter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I keep trying to think like of a comp of scary wise.
Oh,
But I don't, maybe House of Hollow, because House of
I
Hollow is
like
spooky.
what is She is a Haunting? That's a
Oh
good
yeah.
one. That's a good one. That's also horror, but in a way that is not too scary.
More emotional.
Or Ryan LaSala's books are also like horror and not. I really like his audiobooks because they're so atmospheric, like the honeys with the little bees in the background, or what's that other one that just came out? Beholder is also really good.
Oh, Beholder.
Yeah,
With the spider on the
he's
cover.
the lots of yeah, the cover freaks me out, but it's a really good
You're
book.
like, wait.
The cover is creepy, but it's so like I think it's in that same kind of vein. Like it's horror, but it's not like punch you in the face, you're gonna not be able to sleep.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't really do like I mean I will sometimes, but like I don't usually do like gruesome, like
Mhm.
slash like a lot of
Yes. Yeah.
blood,
Yeah.
gore.
That's what I think it's going to be when someone says horror. I'm like, somebody's
Yeah.
getting chopped up, and I don't like. I'm really squeamish for that.
She's
This
very
wasn't that, and
squeamish.
it was
Yeah.
great.
Yes,
I'm
no.
always prepared for like if anything gets too bloody, I'm like, Mandy, you need to take note.
Skip
Like
this page.
I don't pre-read for her when there's the possibility of like too much bloody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And
but
there's
this
been a
was
lot
like
of books lately that I've read that are like super bloody. So I was like,
Yeah.
oh, took me by surprise. Okay.
Yeah.
yeah, so
I was reading a book recently where a guy like gets a hammer to his shin out of nowhere in a fantasy, and I was like,
right.
"Ah,
That just
no.
mm-mm.
The imagination is way too vivid. Like I could just picture it and I don't
Yeah.
want
Right.
Like I
Right.
put the book down, and I sat there for a minute, and I was like,
Yeah. I need like a
Why?
warning. It's too much.
A fate inked in blood. A fate inked
Oh,
in blood.
that's on
The
my
book was
shelf.
good. I ended
What
up
is it?
finishing it, but huh?
A Fate Inked in Blood by Danielle L.
Oh,
Jensen.
Daniel Jensen. It's like a Viking type fantasy, and it
yes.
was a really good story, but that part
Oof.
messed me up. Like I had to put it down for a few days.
Oof. Yeah, I gotta
Ugh.
that one. I have a sample of that one in my phone. I was like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna
It's good. It's
It's
really
on my
good.
shelf somewhere.
But woo, fair warning, whenever the king comes and is talking to, it's very early on, talking to her and her brother is there, that's
Okay.
when it happens. It happens to her
oh,
brother. And again, this isn't a major spoiler, it's the very beginning, but oh,
Okay. Okay.
oh,
Okay,
it
on
messed
that
me
note,
up. Yeah.
let's move on to happier things.
watchers.
Yeah. I'm like, oh,
Okay, happier things. We want to know what comes next. What are you working on? What can you talk about? What can we expect from you after this book? Anything at all?
Oh gosh, this one's so hard because like I'm so excited about what I'm working on, but I'm not really supposed to talk about it. Or like I can't talk about it yet, but it's in the same vein as these vengeful wishes. So we'll just like say
That's
that
enough. That's honestly enough because
Yeah.
it's so like, oh, loved it.
it's based on another lore, Nicaraguan folklore.
Oh, I
So
love that.
yeah.
Yeah.
I love a book that teaches me things while also like giving me the heebie-jeebies and making me ragey for people.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah.
And
I love
also
it.
like the little like there's just some moments where I'm just like giggling and kicking my feet because
Yeah,
they're so cute.
yeah.
It's
He
like
doesn't
such
want
a
to
good
make a wish because he needs to earn it.
so good.
Oh, bless his little heart.
Love him so
I
much.
was so afraid. I didn't know if I could trust you or not. I was so afraid that he was going to be a bad guy.
I was telling Mandy, I'm like, she just writes the sweetest cinnamon roll little boys, because in A Dull Dark Trouble, Ethan, my sweet baby Ethan, I was like, I know what to expect. And it was so good.
Just like that the girls that have already trust issues and, you know, have been hurt so much like by other men or like by, you know, fathers or parents, that there's this one person, not that they heal them, but like help heal themselves.
Right.
Yeah.
Trust. So,
yeah.
They give them a safe place to be who they are.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
So I like
love
my
it.
sturdy girls with my cinnamon roll boys. But who knows? Maybe one day I'll pull an Aaron.
Don't threaten me with a good time.
I wish. Like I gotta take some notes for real. I gotta take some notes.
Yeah.
Yeah. She could masterclass in just that. My God.
Yeah.
Okay, well, now that we've talked about what's next, we do have to give you a little bit of bad news. Now that you've been on the podcast, you're actually legally obligated to come back for all future book releases.
Every
so
single
sorry.
one.
We don't make the rules.
Don't do this.
I know. So sorry.
It was in the fine print. Sorry.
Please take me back.
All right, friends. When this episode comes out, These Vengeful Wishes is out.
You guys,
now.
Go get this book.
Go get it.
Go get this.
It's so good. The cover. Okay, hold on. It's so shiny, you guys.
It is so shiny.
It's so shiny. She's so pretty. Go get it right now. Go to your favorite bookstore, pick up a copy, pick up 10 copies, and give them out as gifts.
Yeah.
Okay.
That'd be great. Thanks.
Plus, it's also this cover. Can we talk about
I can't get over
it's
the
so
cover.
good.
I love it so much.
God, the moment I saw this, I like died because it's just so good. It's beautiful.
They really went off on it. Like it looks so good. I really want a bone, like just like the same bone mask.
Yeah,
for
that would be so cool.
To like take pictures with the little bone.
It's perfect. It's
somebody could 3D print that for you.
I need it like ASAP though, because it's coming out Tuesday.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's so good. But go pick up a copy for yourself and find me in my DMs because I want to talk to everybody about it. Thank you, Vanessa, for coming and hanging out.
Thank you so much.
Fun.
My face hurts.
Yes, I'm so excited for everybody to read this.
Lovely. It was so good to see you, Karin, again, and so good to meet you, Mandy.
It was so good to meet you.
We'll talk soon.
Bye. You didn't tell me how beautiful she is.
She's so beautiful. She's so sweet. I love her so much.
Yeah.
Her husband is also like truly such a cinnamon roll. Like I adore him. Like I met them at Y'all West and he's just hanging out there. He's just like being the most supportive husband ever. And I'm just like, oh my God, I love this so much. Like, yeah. I love her so much.
Oh, I love her. And that was the first person who's ever said Aaron. Yes, my people.
Oh my God. That was so good. I love it. That was so much fun. Like truly, ever since her first book came out, I've been like, we need to get you on the podcast. And then when she announced her second book, I was like, okay, Mandy,
now's the time.
I was like, Mandy, I know it's horror, but like we can do this.
We got to do this. Yeah, no, I'm glad we did because it's opened up a new genre for me. I don't want gore,
right?
But I could always ask Storygraph.
Well, I think it's like horror versus slasher, right? Like it's horror. They're different, and that's what this is. It's more horror. It's more like creepy heebie-jeebies versus like everybody gets murdered.
Yeah.
And bloody. So, yay! Yeah. I'm so
I loved her.
I love her so much. She's the best. I adore her. Okay, so time for announcements.
Yes.
So, next week, I don't actually know if I'm saying her name correctly, but we are going to be talking to Andy Pliego, author of
That's what I thought. That's how I thought you pronounced it.
You Are Fatally Invited. Hopefully she'll correct us if that's wrong, but that's how I've been saying it. I'm so excited.
I know, me too.
I'm so like into this book right now. It's insane. So we're going to be talking to her next week. It's very exciting. I would also like to say that we are 3 interviews away from booking out the first half of this year, which is insane.
And we booked one for next.
And we booked one for the second half of the year
next
already.
Half of the season. Yeah.
Like, It's January 30th. That is insane.
Well, January has lasted for 40 days and 40 nights and
That's so
100
true.
years.
My
So
God. But
I'm
yeah.
surprised we're not booking season 7 authors at this point
Oh
because
my God.
my God,
It has
this month.
been a month.
Yeah.
Oy. Okay, time for a spiel.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, friends, if you enjoyed this episode, please like, follow, and subscribe wherever you're listening to us. You can follow us on social media. We are at The Incoherent Fangirl on all the things. Head over and visit our website, theincoherentfangirl.com, where you can also stream all of our episodes as well as read our blog. If you subscribe to our Patreon, you can get early access to podcast episodes, full video episodes, and exclusive bonus content. Supposedly, Printify is going to be creating a way for us to create coupons for the shop. So if that happens, we can also
Hey.
give exclusive coupons to Patreon. So stay tuned. Speaking of the shop, you can head over and get some cute merch designed by Ms. Mandy over here. Theincoherentfangirl.com/shop. I got so confused for a second. I forgot where I was. But you can head over there and do some shopping. And if you have any questions, comments, concerns, suggestions, design ideas you want to tell us that we're pretty, we will accept all of that
We'll
in our
take it.
inbox, theincoherentfangirl@gmail.com. We love hearing from y'all. And of course, one last way to support the podcast is to rate and review on whatever platform you're listening to us on. Please give us your words. You know we love
your
words here.
words.
She is at Mandy Perv on all the things.
She's at Ms. Made in China on all the things.
And once you followed us on social media and you followed the podcast on social media, you can head over and do some self-care because we are pro self-care here.
Yes.
And visit
absolutely.
our internet besties, do some shopping. First up, you're going to head to herecomesthenerd.com and get yourself some cute pins and artsy goodies. Use code FANGIRL and you'll get 20% off your first order.
And after you've done that and you've got your pins and goodies, you're going to head to onceuponabookclub.com and you're going to get a subscription. You're going to get some stuff from their shop, both. We have 2 codes for you to use. You can only use one. We love you no matter which one you use, but they don't stack. So it's either going to be Mandy10 or Karin10 for 10% off. But if you don't spell Karin right, La Segua is going to come get you.
Mm-hmm. Again, it's the week of feminine rage. You don't want to mess with us.
You don't want
Just
to
saying.
mess with us. Look into our eyes if you're on Patreon. We're scary.
Super scary.
Yeah, so spell Karin right or else.
And once you've done that, you're going to get some awesome books. Head over to our friend amberdlewis.com where you're going to add 10 of everything. Mine are like on over here. It's like ticking up an entire shelf.
I got a lot of up there too.
amberdlewis.com, add like 10 of everything to your cart, use code fangirl10 and you'll get 10% off that 10 of everything, which means you've gotten 1 of everything for free. That is
Mathematics.
Very
I
correct.
asked the mathematicians in Spaceship Earth and they were like, that's true. That's right. Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah. And last but not least, you're going to go support the show husband. You can go follow at Searchers Believe on all the things. That's his paranormal investigation group. Go follow at the Paranormal Mind on everything. That's his podcast that is temporarily on hiatus because we are putting everything that we can into Beacon TV. So this is our first. It is our first, but it's our newest app. It's a streaming platform where you can download and watch horror, true crime, and Karin makes fun of me. Horror, true crime, and paranormal content. I'm Southern, okay?
I said I liked it. I didn't make fun of you.
I know. And if you subscribe and use code FANGIRL10, you'll get 10% off your subscription. And if you want some Searchers merch, you can go to searchersbelieve.com/shop and use code FANGIRL10 to get 10% off there. And then again, Beacon is streambeacontv.com.
Yay.
So support the show husband. Follow streambeacontv.com on everything.
Do all
they have a show on there now that has someone from Outlander on it.
Ooh.
Exciting things, man.
Very exciting. And that, my friends, was the Incoherent Fangirl. Thanks for listening.
Thank you. We love you.
Bye.
We are sponsored by our friends at Here Comes the Nerd. Pins, stickers, magnets, and more. Here Comes the Nerd has happy art for all fandom-loving hearts. New customers can use coupon code FANGIRL during checkout for 20% off their first order at herecomesthenerd.com. Coupon applies to ready-to-ship items only.